God, I just pray that right now, Lord, you would help me to be able to speak clearly and get through the emotions of this, God, that Lord, that this video can be used for your glory, God, and it can speak to the hearts of your people, Lord.
At the time that I noticed, Chere, that I'd been divorced, and I was going through that period of where I was frustrated, just mad about, just how things was going. And there was a time, that I questioned, God, why was I having to go through that? But at that time, I was just not seeing what God had ahead of me.
When they came to me and were like, Chere, Jeffrey's single. And then they went to Jeff and was like, Jeff, of course everybody knew I was single, but it's just sweet because knowing Jeff over the years, I knew his character and I knew what kind of man he was and how much he loved the Lord. So they didn't really have to talk me into going out with him. They didn't have to talk me into it. It was just, yes. It was a dark season. It was a tiring season because I had been fighting for years for my children, for their protection. There was abuse involved with their father. He was abusive to the children. He was abusive to me. But in the season we were at, before I met Jeff, Sydney was young, and afraid. And I had trouble, just disclosing things about her father, because in her mind, this was a man that was supposed to protect her and love her, but that's not what he had shown her. So it was a hard season, but when Jeff and I started dating, he was truly a protector for me and the kids. And I was so ecstatic, honestly, to have him in my life and to feel that I had a protector. I mean, I always knew that God was my protector and God was protector for the kids. And I know looking back, there were seasons that we were all afraid. There were seasons that I had to put chimes on my doors and windows. There was seasons that we were stalked.
After you get married, you're going to have those challenges of where personally me, it's like we had to face struggles with the kids. It was like that they didn't want to share me with anybody else. And that's something that we just really had to pray through constantly, and there was a lot of resentment there. The kids just went through a time that they just didn't feel like I needed to get married.
Good, bad, whatever, just let it out. Nothing you can say you're not gonna get in trouble. We just need to know your heart. Where are you? And come to find out, Erica was like, I just struggle feeling like my dad's being taken away. And so then Sydney would share her heart about how she just longed for a father. And then Erica would cry for Sydney and Sydney would cry for Erica. And then through that and through prayer, they actually felt for one another. And that changed things along with prayer. And so honestly, whenever people ask me, how do you do it? How did you blend your family and do it so well? Communication and prayer is the biggest part.
It was a tough season for them. And even though I, as being their dad, I couldn't adopt them because of the situation. And that was hard, because I knew that they didn't really have a father that could be there for them. And I wanted to so bad be that father, but I couldn't because of the situation. It just, through the struggles of the courts, I couldn't adopt them.
So 5 years into our marriage is when finally Jeff was able to adopt the children, Sydney and Joshua. To that point, he couldn't adopt legally because their biological father still had rights. But at that 5-year mark is when he lost his rights to Sydney and Joshua. And at that point is when Jeff could legally adopt them and take them on as his own.
It was such a fight. And I knew what the kids went through. And, you know, even though the enemy, sometimes it's a battle, but, you know, God's faithful. And why it was so special is them kids didn't have to worry anymore because they knew that they were going to have a father.
The day that we were in the adoption room was just so surreal, and it was so sweet, and there was such joy. Like, one of the things that I kept thinking while I was in there was truly like how God had redeemed my family, how God had restored my family, how God had taken sorrow, pain, anger, struggles, and turned it to joy. He truly turned our mourning to joy. So what the enemy tried to come against my family with, to destroy us, God is using that same thing, that pain that the enemy thought would destroy us. God is using it for His glory. And that's what it's all about, truly. At the end of the day, it's about whatever we're going through, whatever struggle, whatever heartache, whatever pain, is that we will just surrender that and allow the Lord to use that for His glory. That's really our story.
It is.
It's that Satan's a liar and God is faithful and He is good. And that's what we stand on. That's what we stand on.